The Father is consecrated to the Son. The Son is consecrated to the Father. The Father, the Son, and the Spirit are totally, completely, and utterly consecrated and devoted to the other members of the Godhead. That's deep thinking and requires a lot of thought, but it's so powerful in that it's that relationship of holiness into which we have been called to be totally devoted to God and to be committed to Him, even as He is to Himself, and He is committed within Himself in Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Are you still with me out there? I told you we're going to plumb some depths and rise to some heights. Okay, I've mentioned these two next words already in the earlier session. God is omnipotent and God is omniscient. He is the all-powerful, all-knowing God. And so, we must understand that God's power and God's knowledge extends to everything. There is no part of the universe where God's power is lacking, or where God's presence is lacking, or where God's knowledge is lacking. Some people struggle with the idea of God knowing everything because they say, how can God know the future? How can He predict what free will agents are going to do? And if He could predict them, then they are predetermined. And they say, well, this is impossible philosophically. Well, you can struggle with it philosophically as much as you like. And the truth is there is no philosophical system that can contain this. Because God cannot be contained by the tiny containers known as human minds, intellects, or philosophies of people. Now, God is so sovereign, so powerful, and He's so all-knowing that He knows the future. And it's nothing to do with whether you believe in double predestination or anything like this. It's to do with the simple fact that God is God. Well, we need to perhaps understand this and helpfully try to understand it by looking at the difference between His permissive will and His perfect will. The permissive will of God is what God allows. But in allowing it to happen, He does not compromise His ongoing purposes. He does not allow something that will ultimately frustrate Him from what He has purposed to do. God will ultimately work out His will in the world. Jesus Christ will return, and He will establish God's kingdom fully upon this earth. But in the meantime, He has allowed a rebellious kingdom, Satan's kingdom. He allows sin. He doesn't automatically stop sin. The time is coming when He will, but in the meantime, He gives us the freedom to choose so that we can willingly submit to His kingdom and His authority. And that's when His perfect will be established.